On the Fringe with Dan RadioStyle. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. God, I'm hoping I can get away with this thumbnail. We'll see. might have to change it. But just to explain it, this is not Swalwell's therapist. No. In fact, I'm not saying possessive in the case. I'm actually saying Swalwell is. And you'll understand a lot more coming up. But yeah, fastest congressional crash probably in history. I don't know if there's anyone that's ever done it better. We got a little bit of news to talk about with Iran. Interesting piece of information that was brought up by someone that is probably familiar to many of you, certainly as a close companion with my good friend Alpha. But Josh Reed, I've been listening to some of his stuff lately, and I like him. He's he knows what he's talking about. His mind's in the right place. I think he's got a spiritual side to him, too, that's kind of interesting. And needless to say, he brought up an interesting point. That's something to be concerned about, something I hope doesn't happen, but might. So we're going to kind of factor that in with the Iran concept, too. It's going to be an interesting show. Let's get the ball rolling, for that matter. Got a lot to talk about. I wanted to start here because it's kind of cool. Trump shared this, and AI did it, but this is Trump aging from 4 years old until current day. Does a pretty good job with most of it. Some of the there's one place where he almost looked like Cohen. What's that dude? That lawyer he had, right? I think that was kind of funny. Anyway, whatever. Major oil groupers demanding the Democrats rise up against Gavin Newsom over his extreme green crusade. Yeah, ultimately, people here in California need to wake up. And a lot of this is just the heavy brainwashing. So you kind of can't hate everybody because they so very much believe this. I mean, I know a lot of kids that are literally have anxiety because they think the end of the world is nigh because of climate, because of what's been beat into their heads. And so they support all sorts of crazy radical stuff, but the reality is oftentimes vastly different than what we're being told. And I mean, we're well aware of that. I'm just choosing my words somewhat carefully. So yeah, the war between California and the oil companies will continue probably for, well, until we're all screwed or have some form of new energy that we can use instead. Accused warehouse arsonist. This is the guy that burnt down this whole warehouse. The dude that had a very Hamel Abdul Karim. It doesn't strike me as an Abdul Karim, but he is. He is. Who did that remind me of earlier? I was going to comment on somebody, but I can't remember who it was. Doesn't matter. Oh, yeah. He's comparing himself to Luigi Mangione. First off, so he considers himself a freedom fighter. Now, the main reason I brought this up is it just kind of illustrates what's going on with people on the left. It's one of the reasons why I don't think my parents truly appreciate how unhappy I am with them for their lack of support because of how much danger people like us are in. It's just kind of ridiculous. So it's sad, but we are hated. In fact, I watched a stupid video of a woman. I swear to God, it almost looked like a set because there's parts of the plane that just looked weird and one of the walls moved way too much. But she apparently got all pissed off at this dude wearing a MAGA hat and just refused to sit down next to him. And then she smacked him. Ultimately, she got kicked off the plane. But again, I don't know if it was real or not. It looked kind of fake. Cops chilling warning for a bloody summer as depravity of hellish LA street takeovers continues. This is just kind of crazy what's been happening. This is happening in a lot of places. And I don't know why, and I'm surprised more people aren't getting hurt. how dangerous that is. It's insane, right? Again, I mean, just guy's got some great sliding skills, but yeah, it's got to be so damn hard in the cars too. But whatever. They've arrested a bunch of people. I think something like 4 or 6 people were shot just this weekend here, and this is L.A., Los Angeles. So again, one of the many cities that are likely not going to survive the coming apocalypse, or whatever, actually, whatever we end up calling it after effect. Nick Shirley posted this. California is trying to pass a bill that would criminalize investigative journalism with misdemeanors, $10,000 fines, imprisonment, and content takedown. The proposed bill is entitled AB 2624 and was made after I exposed mass fraud of immigrant groups in America. Under AB 2624, government-funded entities like the Somali Leering daycare centers would be protected from being exposed if they operated inside of California. The enemy truly is within. When our politicians would rather protect fraudsters and illegal migrants, it's time for us to stand up or face mass oppression from the traitors who rule over us. Actually, I have to read this. I wasn't going to, but now I am. If I can find it, there it is. And it was O'Keefe Media Group. He nailed it right here. Said, I don't know why people find this so complicated. There is money in fraud. There is no money in stopping fraud. Truly understand that. There's money in fraud. Politicians are getting the kickbacks. They don't give a shit about the taxpayer, okay? So you're irrelevant. When you get rid of the fraud, you get rid of the money. They have 0 reasons to want to stop the fraud. 0 reasons. We are truly fighting a fight that I don't think many of us even appreciate. I think there's still this assumption that politicians are wanting to do right. I think most of them don't. So yes, California lawmakers are trying to introduce the Stop Nick Shirley Act. It's pretty sad. So anyways, Californians, we need to ripple the hell out of this, man. This is redonkulous. It's stupid what they're trying to do here. Here's a great example of how you're supposed to do things. Being sarcastic, of course. What stupid state was this? I apologize. I forgot already what state did this. I want to say it was Indiana. So this individual, she killed a baby. This transgender woman convicted of killing her infant stepdaughter was quietly freed 30 years early from an Indiana prison and quickly launched an OnlyFans account, according to reports. So she was sentenced to 55 years in prison back in 2002 for strangling 11-month-old Faith Lee. Oddly, Faith is the name of the young lady that kept me from killing myself. She didn't tell me. I didn't want her to see me. That was why. I didn't want her to see my dead body. I literally did not kill myself because of that. Kind of cool. Needless to say, it didn't hold up here, unfortunately. But this individual returned to her hometown of Evansville, Indiana last December on parole, but prosecutors only learned of her release from a citizen, not the state. So this is kind of messed up. And more of the same stupid stuff we always hear. Harmeet Dillon's going after Tim Walz for some interesting, going after some of his stupid laws and some of the stupid laws that exist in Minnesota. Sounds like they're going to have a pretty fair chance at it. Check it out.
Well, look, Chicago has this. Many big cities have it. When I tweeted about Asheville trying to do this, they withdrew their policy, Asheville, North Carolina. It's like whack-a-mole out there. But the state of Minnesota has long had this affirmative action regime dating back to the 1960s and 1970s, a couple of bad Supreme Court precedents that wrongly interpreted Title VII. The United States Supreme Court more recently has held in Students for Fair Admissions and Ames versus Ohio Department of Youth Services that it's illegal to discriminate against majority people or anybody. So, white men have rights just the same as any minority or LGBTQ person. And that's a very American concept. So we're going to court. We've actually had a very rare situation here where I asked then Attorney General Pam Bondi to certify that this was a case of national importance. And if it's a civil rights case of national importance, it can skip over the appeals court and go directly to the Supreme Court for appeal. It's a fast-tracked case. And it's the first time this provision has been used in decades in recent memory. And so we're looking forward to litigating this, and we're looking forward to overturning Minnesota's illegal discrimination against majority people in employment throughout the state.
Yeah, we're looking forward to stopping a lot of this stuff. And again, I feel like I don't know if I've used this joke before. I don't know how many of you guys can actually relate to this. I don't know how many of you have seen it. I always trip on crossing guards, and I don't know if it's just here in California or if all of them feel like they have supernatural powers. There's one, I used to live really close to a school. And so there was a crossing guard always if you'd show up at the times when school was going on. And I would turn right where the crossing guard lady was, but I would come up to where the line was, where you're allowed to be. But she'd start putting that stop sign out where I'm still 15 feet away from the line, and I'm slowly creeping up. But I'm not like driving, I'm just creeping, all right? Slowly creeping up. And she literally pushed the sign and kept like forcing it at my face, like, from her distance, like trying to like use some sort of telekinesis to sort of stop me. And I kind of feel like I feel like it's what we're all trying to do, right? Like we're trying to fix these politicians with some sort of mind trick, when the reality is we've got to wake up from this, and then we've got to get elections that are fair and free, and then hopefully vote some of these numbskulls out. And there's obviously a huge push from many of the nasty MAGA people in our own group that are now all saying, I'm going to go vote Democrat. It's, again, very funny, because I don't think a lot of people are necessarily, if they don't vote Republican, they're not necessarily going to vote Democrat. I think this is one of the things that a lot of people don't quite understand. It's not really a two-party system. It's a rhino party system or a one-party system, and most of us know that. And then there's like, well, who's not the shitty person? It's not even less evil. It's like, is any of the candidates actually here to do good for us? And that's the trick. We'll see. Zoran's first city-run grocery store is going to cost taxpayers about $30 million. This is going to be such a mistake. It's going to be such a mistake. And it's probably going to be a joke. It's probably going to be an absolute joke. I can't imagine they're going to have that. We'll see. We'll see. One grocery store, it's going to cost about $30 million a year. That's wow. That's all I can say is wow. I worked in grocery for a lot of years, man. That's wow. Okay. I've got to bring this up. And this is something that I hadn't thought of. I'm not the biggest fish eater out there. I like, shellfish maybe, but I don't eat fish all that often. I love chicken, pork, beef. Chicken's my favorite. I'll eat that. I can eat that every day, right? Love it. Absolutely love it. What I didn't realize, and what's becoming a huge thing, and I already talk a lot about the Parasite cleanse. Highly recommend it. I think the world of the Parasite cleanse, it's a lifesaver, frankly. And one of the things that maybe many people don't realize is that there's a big push right now. Sushi, right? Sushi's very trendy. Sushi's very exciting. A lot of people, it's just exploded in popularity. Well, problem is, a lot of the fish, most of the fish, has parasites, has worms, has a number of parasites in them. In fact, there's quite a few that they've found, over 70 parasites. They're tiny and nearly impossible to see, and they are making their way into the human body. Once inside, parasites can hide for years while frequently laying eggs before any symptoms appear. So salmon is one of the most popular fish worldwide, but it naturally contains more than 70 parasites. Incredible. So many physicians are raising awareness about parasites. So what's cool about ivermectin mebendazole specifically, so ivermectin paralyzes the parasite's nervous system. That's what ivermectin does. It just paralyzes them. They can't move anymore. And then what the mebendazole does is it actually starves them. It keeps them from being able to metastasize or metabolize, I should say, food or your energy. It kills them. And I don't know, if they could feel pain, it's probably a painful death because they can't move and they can't breathe. Right? They can't metabolize. They starve to death. Fantastic. They're not helping you in any way, shape, or form. This is why the ivermectin mebendazole is the way to go. It is incredible. It's 25 milligrams of ivermectin, 250 milligrams of mebendazole, and you get 90 pills. You do one pill a day. And you do it for like 2 weeks, and then you can take a couple weeks off, and you get 2 weeks and a couple weeks off. It's incredible what you'll notice. And again, you'll actually start to notice some health differences just because of the way parasites work. They've actually got similarities in the body. I'm going to say this carefully, okay? You can read between the lines. But there are huge similarities between the way parasites affect the body as the way cancers affect the body and the way they show themselves. It's very interesting, some of those similarities. And though you might test positive for cancer, and then they'll put you on all sorts of stuff, but they're not maybe even treating the actual problem. Give your ivermectin mebendazole a chance, first off. Second off, they've actually noticed it seems to help with some cancers. Skin cancer, for example, ivermectin cream, they're actually seeing people with great results people that have even some larger moles and stuff like that, you'll be surprised at some of the benefits you're going to see from using the ivermectin cream. So it's a cream. You can do the ivermectin when you take the pill. That helps you internally because, honestly, skin grows from inside out, right? The outside layer is the oldest nasty layer, but when you've got growths, those growths go all the way through. So you can kind of treat them from both directions. So amazing products that they've got. They've also got a lot of really good stuff. They've got some supplement lines that you will want to check into if you want to look into, anti-aging, if you want to look into detoxing, spike detox, plastic detox they've got as well. They've got all sorts of stuff for weight loss. They've got all sorts of stuff for trying to, they've got the wellness farms too. God, protein sticks, beef jerky. They've got these meats, these meat things. So cool. Let's see if I can find any of the meat. Yeah, wellness farms. So much good stuff in here. They've got all the meat, cattlemen's lean meats. They got the butcher's choice meats. Again, they are high quality meats. And so some people might, it's kind of expensive, isn't it? Not if you're getting good quality meat. When you're getting the stuff at the grocery store, it's not the same thing. A lot of that stuff has dyes and all sorts of weird stuff in it to make it that red color. A lot of this stuff is grass fed. And so it's got that natural kind of darker color to it. And of course, like the butcher's choice meats, the marbling is gorgeous. This is not quite Wagyu by any stretch, but a nice, neat step towards it, right? So again, amazing meat. I love the meat products. I bought one of them. I forget which one it is. I think it was the lean meats. I think they've changed them a little bit too. But anyways, just fantastic products. And then the Contagion Kit is one I always recommend. It's an antiviral if you're worried about the flu in any way, shape, or form, or any viral stuff, anything where they're going to try to get another vaccine going. You want to get that Contagion Kit. That one's a rock star right here. This guy, the emergency Contagion Kit. I've got that in my bathroom right now. Again, amazing products. They actually have a bunch of cool kits too. Field emergency kit. They've got a mold. They got a radiation kit. They got all sorts of crazy stuff. So they've got the kits for your animals. It's incredible stuff. So all said, twc.health/OTF. And what I understand, you're going to get a 10% discount for the audience. Let's see, how does this work? Head to twc.health/OTF and use code OTF, and you're going to save $35 off plus free shipping. Say this is your audience discount, so it's 10% off, I guess. I'll say this is if your audience discount. Oh, okay. I think this is my audience discount. And then what's the difference between this one? I don't know. There's a 10 or 15% discount. I'm not quite sure what the difference is. This isn't written very well. And this is for USA residents only. But that said, twc.health/OTF. If there's a coupon code, then put OTF in there and see what it does for you. Again, amazing products. Check it out. Go to otfspecial.com. Go to twc.health/OTF. twc.health/OTF. I think I kept saying OTF special that whole time. Sorry, that's that Feel Great product. Also a great product. But TWC, the wellness company, twc.health/OTF. Use that coupon code OTF and save even more money. Possibly get some free shipping too. Georgia lawmaker wants Fani Willis to answer questions about the $2 million grant from the Biden DOJ. They're looking into it. They want to know what's up. It was a no-compete grant. I think they want to know probably where it went, what happened to it. Maybe I don't know if they've checked her bank accounts or anything fun like that, but it'd be very funny if some sort of money ended up flowing her way, which it had to have. New Ukrainian impeachment evidence exposes the Democrats' bad faith. So even Ratcliffe has been part of this. Tulsi Gabbard's been part of this whole thing. This has been a big, big movement. And because of this, by the way, especially this Ukraine whistleblower. By the way, that was that Eric Ciaramella, right? Ciaramella. You guys remember that one? That literally would get you a strike on Google. Back in the day, literally would take your video down if you said his name or typed it on the screen. Your video was taken down. I'll never forget that because a lot of us were trying to figure out how to do it. A lot of us got in trouble for doing it. Got strikes for saying his name. Literally got strikes for saying his name, and it was public. They didn't want it public, but it was public. I think it leaked out in a bad way, but whatever. Leaks happen on both sides of the fence. So, of course, they try to control it. Alan Dershowitz is like, hey, Trump, you could probably expunge your 2019 impeachment after this bombshell evidence comes out. And Trump's like, hey, you know what, Alan, why don't you do me a favor and look into that for me? So Trump has basically tapped Alan Dershowitz to hopefully be his lawyer and try to see if they can get that impeachment expunged. If that requires the House in any way, shape, or form, that will be very interesting to see. Or is it the Senate? But yeah, it'll be interesting how that all plays out in the big picture. All right, as I put it, as gulp or swallow well. We got a lot of stuff coming out. This guy is amazing. So here's the timing. Here's where he literally, I think, broke all, like, he is lightning speed, right? He is Operation Light Speed. So Thursday, April 9th, just, 5 short days ago. Thursday, April 9th, leading candidate for California governor on the Democrat side. He was actually number 3. He wasn't really leading, but whatever. On the Democrat side, I think he had the better numbers. That was Thursday, April 9th. Friday, April 10th, sex abuse allegations drop. Saturday, April 11th, Pharma Bros released the sex worker video. Also on Saturday the 11th, Manhattan DA launches rape investigation. Sunday the 12th, DHS launches nanny investigation. Sunday the 12th as well, drops out of governor's race. And Monday the 13th, Swalwell resigns from Congress. All in short 5-day period. Went from the top to the bottom like that. Not bad. Not bad. Like they say, it'll take a lifetime to create a reputation and just a mere few seconds to destroy one. Eric Swalwell's shameful meltdown. Rape claims, spy scandal. He farted on MSNBC. I think we've got that video somewhere. It was a pretty loud fart, by the way. And his expression to me says he actually did it, or is surprised he did it. The way it echoes from where he's at, there's no way that was the cameraman, but he sort of reacts to it, in my opinion. Anyway, check it out.
Taxpayer dollars to ask the Ukrainians to help them cheat an election. And the complaint that I've heard from Republicans...
Everybody knows you can't talk and fart at the same time. You can't do it. Can't do it. Let me see if I can play it again.
Cheat an election. To help them cheat an election. To help them cheat an election. To help them cheat an election.
So you don't think he had anything to do with that? To help him cheat an election. To help him cheat. I hope I didn't ruin my shorts election. To help him cheat. Oh my God. Jesus. I've farted plenty of times. Thank you very much. We even call it frogs in the house now. There's frogs. Warn people. Frogs running around. Be careful. There's a frog someplace. Swalwell quits Congress after the sex scandal torpedo. Let's see. Yeah, everyone's going after him. Anna Paulina Luna. She's going after him hot and heavy. You guys might remember this. It's kind of funny because I'm going to show Kash Patel's post from the FBI standpoint here in a moment, but this is when he was trying to get confirmed or whatever, but approved. All said. It was pretty funny. Or this is one of the times they were, director. So he was already director. This is when they were pissed at him for something. I don't remember what they were pissed at him for this time, but this is still pretty funny. Check it out.
I will work on the audio-visual capabilities. I'm going to borrow your terminology and call bullshit on your entire career in Congress.
I'm reclaiming my time,
It has been a disgrace to the American people. You can reclaim your time all you want.
Mr. Chairman, you're going to allow a witness to speak this way? Mr. Chairman, would you
recuse yourself?
The gentleman has no time.
Mr. Chairman, would you admonish the witness not to insult members?
The gentleman has no time.
Mr. Chairman, just
committee will remember.
Quick point of order. Could the gentleman be extended an additional 20 seconds to complete his thoughts since the witness decided to interrupt him continuously?
And the witness will be able to respond if he wants. We'll make sure he has time to do that.
My question is, will you, Director, recuse yourself, yes or no, from investigating or making decisions about the 60 individuals, including myself, that you identified as government gangsters? Yes or no?
Time of the gentleman has expired. The witness may respond if he would like.
And the answer was no, as I heard.
Correct. Okay. The gentleman from Wisconsin, the gentleman yields back. The gentleman from Wisconsin is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Chairman.
So anyway, you get the point. Obviously, a little bit of a fight there, and that was certainly lots of fun. Now, here's Kash Patel's post. Eric Swalwell has maintained that none of the allegations against him are true. And now that he's resigned, we would welcome him to sit down with the FBI and share any information he has. We also encourage and welcome any persons with relevant information to any of these matters to speak with us. Door is open to all at FBI. Call 1-800-CALL-FBI. And for any of you guys that are ever like, how do I get in touch with the FBI? I might want to keep that number in your mind. 1-800-CALL-FBI. So tricky to remember, huh? Yeah, so here's Rep. Paulina Luna is kind of sharing this little video. She is alleging, and I don't know how she knows, but maybe she does, who knows. I'm not saying it's not true, I'm not saying it is true. But she is claiming the person filming this is actually underage. Now, that's not illegal. But considering this is a hooker and the person filming it likely is a hooker as well, and possibly an underage hooker, that probably is not going to age well, most likely. So, yeah, I don't know. She's young, but I think she's the one that's supposed to be at least over 18. But there's all sorts of stuff coming out of him. There's even one of him on the boat. I was playing that earlier. It's kind of lame. Nothing really good in that one. But yeah, he was partying with a bunch of people that all, in my opinion, looked like they were in their early 20s. I didn't see anyone that actually looked really young. Again, I live kind of by a high school, so I feel like I still see young girls and stuff all the time. And it's like, yeah, they didn't look anything like that. That's for sure. Who knows, frankly. But yeah, he's had all sorts of issues. Now, GOP Rep Tony Gonzales, this is the guy that cheated on his wife with the girl that then caught herself on fire. Again, he's quitting. Whatever. I mean, I don't think cheating on your spouse is something that should get you kicked out of Congress. I would assume almost all of Congress members have probably cheated on their wives. I'm not saying it's okay by any stretch of the imagination. In fact, if their wives find out, then they can choose to do what they want to choose to do about it. But I don't think it's necessarily a reason to throw somebody. It's like, is that a reason to fire somebody from their job? Probably not. Is that a reason to, do a lot of things? I don't think so. And I would say for anybody that's like, well, they shouldn't do that kind of stuff if they're going to be Congress members. Well, I would say, all right, how many of you guys are perfect? And if you're perfect, feel free to cast that stone. But if you're not, I don't think it's fair to hold other people that are just supposed to be representing the public to a higher standard than you hold yourself. I just don't think that's fair. Like, I am a flawed individual, but there's a lot of things I haven't done ever, nor would I probably. So I can be critical of someone that's maybe murdered somebody, right? Like, there's certain things where some of us can, right? But again, man, I've been on both sides of cheating. Yeah, so whatever. That's my thing, right? You guys want to hate me for it, totally cool, but I'm far from a perfect man. John Thune says he's circumventing Democrats and moving forward with funding both ICE and Border Patrol. Let's let him explain this really quick.
Enforcement and border security are funded through the end of this fiscal year. But it is clear we can't rely on Democrats to fund law enforcement when it comes time to pass fiscal year 2027 funding in September. And so Republicans are going to take up a reconciliation bill to fund border security and immigration enforcement for the next 3 years. Senator Graham and the Senate Budget Committee are already working on a budget resolution to set up consideration of this bill. And I want to see the Senate take up this resolution and the subsequent bill, the reconciliation bill to follow, without delay. We need to keep this process tight and focused so that we can get this done. Otherwise, we're going to end up in the unacceptable situation where parts of the Department of Homeland Security are going unfunded, not just now, but for the long term.
Now, I'm going to point this out because he does it 3 times just in this 1-minute speech. But he does this with his hands. Let's see if we can get a better view. He's doing it there. Let's see if I can get that thing to close down. But he's doing the triangle thing. Oh, I'm not even on screen. He's doing the triangle thing with his hands like that, right? Now, he could totally be doing Masonic hand gestures, and I wouldn't say it's not likely because of where they're at in Congress. I will say, though, from my own standpoint, because I've spent enough time standing on stages or talking, or even sometimes when I'm just here talking, I'll put my hands in positions, and I don't know what it is, but I do that. Trump does that too. Like, I'll put my hands together. Like, I'll clasp these fingers, and I don't know why. I don't know what it is. There's probably a larger significance other than what the Masons do with this, because I'm not a Mason, never have been. Closest I ever got to a Mason house was the VFW that was catty corner, and it was the only place we were allowed to drink, so someone sponsored me and got me in. It was pretty awesome. It was right before I moved, too, which kind of sucked. Finally got me into a place where I could drink with the fellas, and then I moved. But yeah, it's, who knows, right? You guys can, wherever your mind wants to take you on that, that's your call, right? It could be any of the above. I find a lot of people make up their minds way too quickly. It's, to me, it's disturbing, but it's just, as most everybody does it. It's very, very strange. Like, we don't know anything. We claim we know something because so-and-so said something and it made sense to us, and we're like, oh, that's it, that's true. And then you start running around telling everybody this is fact when it's an alleged situation at best. But again, who knows what's real and what's not real anymore? For me, the only thing I know that's real is anything I've experienced with my own senses, my own abilities, my own life. Like if I've experienced it in some way, shape, or form, then I consider it real. And if I haven't, I don't know. And that's where I keep it. I'm very open to just about everything. I'm even open to flat Earth. I don't think it's flat. I'm pretty sure it's round, but I'm open. I am. Haven't made up my mind for sure. I don't really know for sure. There's a lot of stuff that would indicate it's round. In fact, a good friend of mine, Q, Dirty Q, he actually filmed a video for me, and I can share this with you guys if you want. And I was gonna film one and send it back to him, but he's in Alaska or Australia, the other A country. He's down there, and he had a jug of water and drained it, and it formed a funnel. Now, in his case, the funnel went clockwise. I just recently, there was a weird smell I was smelling in the bathtub. I don't even use the shower, so I figured maybe something tried to crawl up the drain and died or something. It kind of had a funk to it. So I sealed the bathtub, filled up the bathtub with water, and then opened it and drained it, figuring I'd push it through. Well, it formed a swirl. In a rectangular bathtub, by the way. It formed a swirl like most people have seen, and like it should, was going counterclockwise. Now, why is that? Why is it that the funnel goes one way down there and it goes a different way up here? Why is it that they see a totally different sky down in the south than we see in the north? There's a lot of things that don't fit the flat earth model that we're all staring at the same sky thing. That just doesn't fit. I guess there's some stuff with some of the, the straight line thing and all that. I get you, but there's a lot of problems with the flat earth theory that are kind of ignored, or people just say that's not true. And it's like, but it is. I even have evidence that it's true. Do you? Again, I don't know. Coriolis effect is something that definitely happens. Why? That's what the swirling is, basically. Maryland Senate passes dangerous anti-ICE sanctuary state bill in the dead of the night. It's crazy. SB 791 bans all state and local media agencies from having any communication with Immigration and Customs Enforcement and prevents cops from informing ICE about the arrest status of dangerous, violent criminals, allowing them to communicate with ICE only if someone has been convicted of a felony. That's interesting. So good job, Maryland, trying to just make it worse and worse. Baltimore's a mess. We know that. They're about to crash any day. Mississippi, on the other hand, does kind of the opposite. Their legislators make it illegal for illegal migrants to be in the state. Now, they can't pass laws that says it's illegal to, cross into the United States, kind of like Texas was trying to do, right, where they were going to be like, yeah, if you come across our border, that's illegal and we'll arrest you. They can't do that because that's a federal thing. But when you've got somebody that's broken a federal law and then they come into your state, well, you actually can hold that against them, in fact. And Mississippi is going to do that. So good job. Fill her up. Record armada of tankers bound for the U.S. This number's gotten larger. I think it's up to 171 now. Yeah, 171 crude tankers are bound for the U.S. Gulf and Venezuela, but the Gulf area, the Gulf of America, because that's where the Venezuela oil is also, which is interesting. Again, I was talking to my buddy my mate, I guess I should say, down in Australia. And he was freaking out because he's like, dude, we don't have any of our ships in line. None of our shit's in line. And I looked it up. So the first question I asked, because he did AI search. So I went online and searched. I'm like, where does Australia get its oil? And it showed that Australia gets most of its oil from South Korea and then like Malaysia and one other country or something weird. But not from the Straits, not from the Gulf. South Korea gets theirs from the Gulf. So they're producing some of the stuff for Australia as well as two other countries. So I was like, I don't even think you guys get any of your oil pretty much. Well, some of it is kind of from North Korea, but North Korea's in line, so you're okay. You already got someone in line. And he's like, what? No way. Cool. So, I think it put a smile on his face. I don't know. He's down in the southern hemisphere, so maybe it was a frown, and it looked like a smile from here. It's hard to tell. It's the other side of the earth. Right? He's upside down. It's upside down, people. But yeah, we got a lot of money is going to be heading our way. Now, again, price of oil has dropped significantly in 24 hours. It was almost at $100 yesterday when markets opened. On Monday, it was up like 110. Went spiked hardcore, which I figured it would. And then I was curious what would happen. Trump's effect thing, his embargo went into effect at 10 a.m. Eastern time. It seems roughly at that time the prices started to fall. And then today they opened significantly lower. And as always, everything else is going up. Gold's going up. Silver's going up. I think cryptos are even up quite a bit right now. We'll get there in a second. I just want to give this a chance to load. So gold's at 48.62. Silver's at almost 80 again. Again, numbers are going to go back where they were. This is all because of the crude oil thing, and this is really putting a hamper on the deep state right now, especially China. We are crushing China hardcore right now. Bitcoin, oh, wow, Bitcoin was doing a lot better earlier in the day. It was up probably another 1,000 plus from where it is right now. Yeah, wow. Yeah, it was pushing 76 earlier. I don't know why it dipped back down, but has everything got that same shape? Kinda. So something happened around, 10:30, 11 a.m. Eastern time probably? Huh, did stocks do anything weird at that time? No? Gold and silver do anything weird at that time? It just went up. Cryptos are weird, man. They just don't follow rules. Crypto's very strange. I think a lot of cryptos, countries will move money into it and then buy stuff. So it's a means of conversion without having to do a whole lot more than that. I want to remind you guys, if you've got a 401k or an IRA, first off, they're making it more and more difficult for people to liquidate out of this stuff. They've got piles of money that they don't want to let go of. And they don't want you necessarily taking your money and running either. So be early on the draw, because if you're not, you're probably not going to get it. Or at least you're not going to be able to get it at first, or not be able to get it until after. Go to drslikesgold.com, drslikesgold.com. If you have a 401k or an IRA, both pre-tax money, it's why they matter, okay? They're going to move it over, tax-free, penalty-free. Then they're going to buy precious metals with that money, and that'll be your precious metals, by the way. It's literally put into a trust, and they're going to give you up to 10% free silver. So you get $250,000 worth of money moved over. You're going to get $25,000 of free silver. Silver's the one that they're saying easily it could be $280 by the end of the year. I hear conservative people saying gold's going to hit $6,000 by the end of the year. I'd push it a little higher than that probably. But nonetheless, inflation's not going away. With energy and with a number of the states that have bad energy policies and bad fuel policies, that's inflation. And then you've got a number of places that are quite possibly stupid enough to raise their minimum wages. That's huge inflation. Your numbers are going to get inflated. This protects your buying power. In 1915, this would buy me a handmade tailored suit. Today, it buys me a handmade tailored suit. I haven't gotten rich off this. But back in 1915, it cost me $30 to buy a handmade tailored suit, 30 for reserve notes. Today, it's going to cost me about 5,000 reserve notes. That's the difference. It protected my buying power. Back in 1915, one Federal Reserve note would buy you 30 full-size Hershey chocolate bars, 30 full-size candy bars. Today, one bag of discount gummy bears for $1. Buying power. This protects it. This protects it and has a multiplier baked in, and that's because of all the paper contracts and nonsense. When all that gets figured out, we're just going to see prices spike up. And prices have to go up because otherwise we're never going to mine for it here in the United States. So there's already agreements that have been made that $280 is an acceptable price. Depending on inflation, it could very easily go much higher than that. Also, depending on what happens with China and their silver supply could affect that price. Don't be on the bad side of this. You're actually getting physical precious metals that can be given to you down the road. If you do it too soon, you're going to get penalized and taxed. It's just how 401ks and IRAs work. It's not Goldco. Goldco's doing the best job they can to get as much of your money into precious metals as possible. Go to drslikesgold.com, drslikesgold.com. If for some reason you're worried about money and you're not sure you're going to be able to pay the bills and you've got a 401k or IRA, you might want to consider cashing it out, not through my friends at Goldco. Don't turn it into precious metals. Don't add an extra step. Don't add extra stuff to it that's not going to benefit you. Consider it. I'm not a financial advisor, and I'm not giving you financial advice, but I know some people are in different places right now. If you know you're still working and can pay the bills essentially with what you're doing, I highly recommend you protect your wealth with precious metals. If by chance you're in a different place in your life, I'd think about things. You will get penalized and you will get taxed. You will lose 50 to 60% of your money. So again, don't go through Goldco because it's not them that does this. It's the fact that it's 401k or an IRA. Okay, so just keep these things in mind. If you're floating in good, protect your money, protect your buying power. It's the smartest thing you're ever going to do. And then as everything gets crazier, you're going to sit back and just, show your pit stains like I'm doing right now. Good God, Dan. But you're going to feel better about it, that's for sure. I don't feel so good about it. It's pretty nasty. That said, go to drslikesgold.com, drslikesgold.com. Get out of that system while you can, because they're trying to take that away from you. So the Treasury is rushing to access Anthropic's Mythos. That's that AI they have. Mythos can hack everything. In fact, they put it together, and it was able to create some sort of program, and I think it was through a web page, that was literally able to hack 4 different OSs in one web page, or it made use of 4 different vulnerabilities in one little bit of code. It's really smart at doing that. And here's the thing. China's already doing this stuff. They've been already doing this stuff. We need to know where we're weak. It was one of the things that this is actually doing that's very helpful, is it's showing us where the problems are. One of the other problems is going to be banking. Any place where passwords are involved, it's going to get very interesting. Let's just say that. It's going to get very interesting. So that'll create like digital ID needs and stuff, which I don't like that idea at all. But you're going to have something tied to a location. Otherwise, AI could, from some other location, compromise stuff that you need. A federal judge dismisses Trump's defamation lawsuit against the Wall Street Journal over the Epstein birthday letter report. This is what everyone's running with. And of course, I'm not surprised that Zero Hedge put it this way, but it's not actually true. Federal judge dismisses Trump's defamation lawsuit. No, federal judge said you need to refile it if you want this to stay in place. And I'm going to give you until like the 27th to refile. There's some amended complaint or whatever. So the way it was initially filed, it couldn't go forward that way. So that was dismissed. But the judge said, yeah, no, you can file an amended complaint by April 27th. Trump's already said on his Truth Social that he was going to do that. But everybody's running with this headline only and leaving out that very important information. Again, at least Tyler added it down here, below the fold, if you will. Still. Appeals court orders Boasberg to end his intrusive criminal contempt investigation of Trump related to the Alien Enemies Act. 2 Trump judges, Judge Roe and Walker. By the way, Roe's spaghetti sauce, one of the best store-bought sauces that are out there, folks. If you haven't tried it, oh, it's so good. I make my own sauce now, but it was the best one I had ever bought up to that. Anyway, he ordered Boasberg to end his inquiry. There was a Biden judge that dissented. Big surprise, but 2 judges beat him. So yeah, Boasberg tried to try to go after Trump's people, saying they should have turned the plane around and flown everybody back when he gave his TRO order. Needless to say, the appellate court said, you must drop that. Very curious to see what Boasberg does. He's really got no choice. He can't exactly be in contempt of the appeals court, can he? Right? That would be bad. Here is Burchett. He's talking about the money that we're still giving to the Taliban. Still giving money to the Taliban. He's pissed off about it. My understanding is we've got the Taliban kind of working for us in a small regard. Again, we have names that have been recycled, and they were our enemy, and now they're our friend, and then they're our enemy, and I don't know anymore, frankly. I really don't. But Tim Burchett's pissed off at him, so anyway, here's Tim being pissed.
These NGOs, so-called non-government organizations, have like 1,000 of them. Then you add the United Nations, and it's gotten a little more complex, but it's the kickbacks. You saw it in Minnesota. $14 billion are stealing, and nobody's even talking about it because once again, our messaging stinks, and we've allowed the narrative to be changed. We are still sending 40. I saw Secretary of State yesterday at the White House, and he helped me. And now it's moved through the Senate committee. It's going to the Senate floor, and as soon as Leader Thune brings it to the floor, I suspect, and that would be a good messaging bill for Republicans because Democrats are opposed to it. They're opposed to it. And I would think that would be an easy sell. Why are Democrats opposed to $40 million a week of your money going to the Taliban? A week. And I have a memo on my desk from the State Department. Look, I ain't no fan of the State Department. They need to go. But they even said it's over $5 billion that has gone through these transactions. The State Department says.
Ridiculous amount of money, right? Ridiculous amount of money. So good on them. Yeah, 52 weeks at 40 million. That's what, 200 to 2 billion, right? Isn't that 2 billion? It's a lot of money. A lot of money, people. That's it. Yeah. Trump's Interior Secretary Doug Burgum announces major groundbreaking on natural gas pipeline in New York City, of all places. This just goes to show, like, we're pumping oil off the coast of California. You know California doesn't want to do that, and you know New York's not happy about this. Interesting.
This project, the Nessie pipeline, is going to deliver enough natural gas to power 2.3 million homes. It's going to help lower the energy costs, that over $1,000 per household. We're talking billions with a B of savings. And it's going to support thousands of jobs. You're going to hear about that today. We appreciate the labor leaders that are here today. Anthony, thank you for being here. But, I mean, these are real paychecks for American workers building American security. Let's give them all a round of applause right now. Thank you. Because when we do this, when we all work together with common sense, we don't just produce more energy, we unlock American ingenuity. And that's what you'll see, standing alongside of us today. The power companies, the pipeline infrastructure, world-class workforce, and a country that is finally getting back to doing big things again.
Yeah. Again, it keeps always beckons, to me. Every time they talk about CO2, it's like, how could we get mad at something that's like naturally happens in the world? And then how can we get mad at something that naturally, every time like a forest fire happens or a volcano erupts, that huge amounts of carbon are released into the atmosphere? Yet we want to insist that it's us. One forest fire does, I think some of the fires we've had here, just one individual fire, released so much toxic crap into the air, it was the equivalent of us driving for like 10 years, just in the state. One fire. And they bitch about everything. It cracks me up, kind of, I guess. At the same time, it's so very sad. FTC moves to settle with ad companies involved in boycotting X. Advertisers can choose not to affiliate with something because of political leanings. Major advertising firms can't. So Publicis Group, WPP, Dentsu, Havas, Horizon Media, these are many different groups that boycotted all advertising to Rumble, to X, to all these places. Odyssey, I don't know about Odyssey. Odyssey's kind of all over the place. Probably Brighteon, but he's got his own set of products over there. Mike Adams is a interesting fella. I don't want to say anything mean, but interesting fellow. Musk says COVID shot almost killed him. He had a couple experiences with it. He said the second one put him close to death. The booster, I believe it said it was. Said he literally thought he was going to go to the hospital and die. So, yeah, there's that. Viktor Orban, he's kind of claiming to his people, look, I'm going to fight for you for another day. It's kind of like what Bolsonaro did in Brazil. And it's what Trump did here in the United States. It's what Farage kind of is doing, but sort of similar. Kind of interesting, huh? How it's almost like you've got to lose the thing that was your only chance, only to see your entire world slip away, only to realize, wait, there may still be a chance. Funny how the world plays out, right? Funny how I forget to put my camera on all the time. Or I try to click it and it fails. Either way. I'm doing something wrong, that's for sure. Navy's Green Laundry Initiative. So this whole fire, apparently, that we're coming to find, and this actually makes more sense. More sense than anything else. We got attacked by missiles. I don't believe that. I didn't believe that, and certainly when it pulled into port, it looked weathered, but it did not look damaged. So that's not true. Though there's a lot of people that were saying it. Again, everyone wants Trump to fail. Everybody so desperately wants that. So desperately. So this thing started its construction back in 1996. They had this whole DEI green thing that we're trying to go to. So instead of doing the standard using steam, which is very plentiful on aircraft carriers, they went with something that they felt was more energy friendly, which is funny because you've got a nuclear reactor on the boat, so you got all the energy you could possibly want for the most part. And it's water efficient. They have desalinization. They have endless water. It floats on water. Why do you want to be water saving? They should just be gushing water onto your laundry all day. That's what it should. That's how they wash it. That is insanity. They have desalinization. All the water they use and create on the ship that they use for drinking and everything else is made from desalinization. Endless water. Endless power. Two reasons why they put in these ozone type laundry machines, which don't work as well and are, yes, prone to fire. Whoops. So those will probably get swapped out or fixed, or this is a mistake we'll never make again. And I'm sure on other carriers will probably consider swapping them out and or putting in way better technology to solve the problem. But these machines are even way more expensive. Again, this is that stupid DEI nonsense. Iran's Mosaic doctrine is fracturing. This is that whole kind of concept that the IRGC is basically in charge no matter what, right? There's the political and political sort of part of Iran, but then there's the Ayatollah and the IRGC, and that's who's actually in charge. The problems have always been whenever anything crazy happened, they just screw with the Strait of Hormuz. Always. They always have. They always would. This was not a surprise. It was never going to be a surprise. Everybody in the world knew that they were going to shut down shipping in the Strait of Hormuz. They knew they would. Anybody that said Trump didn't know this is just stupid. Again, there's just a lot of people that are only just trying to badmouth Trump. And again, I mean, I've seen where we're at. I see what we're doing. I see what he's up against, and I see what he's accomplished. Yeah, I guess I'm carrying water for Trump. I'll say yeah, sure, definitely. I'd carry his water in battle, out of battle. Yeah, I got his back for sure. What about you? Right? What about you? Someone's got to fight something. My favorite thing too, when people try to rip on Trump, is like, all right, so who's your choice? Well, I don't have one. Okay, so you're just going to shoot down the thing that's good, the thing that's actually doing good stuff. It's my favorite thing about what Candace Owens was doing with TPUSA. She's pissed off at Charlie Kirk and Erica Kirk. And so because of that, she wants to go after an organization that was recruiting way more conservative kids in colleges everywhere, doing amazing stuff. Super helpful for the big picture. And what does she do? She attacks that. Again, I got shit from people for kind of calling her out on it. Well, but Erica Kirk, haven't you seen the stories, Dan? Yeah. Have you seen all the things that TPUSA has been doing? It's mostly good, hands down. Are there some people that are probably doing some bad stuff? Probably. Is Erica one of them? I don't think so, but I don't agree with people that say that, but I see where you're coming from. I've heard what Candace Owens has said. Again, a lot of that stuff came from the same places. Yeah, it has been confirmed President Trump is costing Iran a bunch of money per day right now. Iran thought they had the upper hand. Trump demonstrated you have no hand. Zero. There's no upper. You don't even have a lower hand. You don't have a hand.
Threatened bridge and power plant day. China called Iran and told him to cry uncle. Now the Iranian oil blockade is probably the knockout punch. The Iranians are trying to outlast us. The longer the war goes on, the longer their regime can hold off a revolution. But their economy is experiencing a crippling depression. This blockade's costing the regime almost $400 million a day. That's $13 billion a month. Plus, the Iranians can only store oil for about 2 weeks before they have to start shutting off wells. The Iranians can't outlast us. The world's turning to us for energy. Over 120 empty oil tankers are on their way to the Gulf of America.
Yeah, a lot of people. Gulf of America coming. We are costing them gobs of money and forcing China to either A, go through us and pay normal price, or B, I don't know where you're going to go. And this is what many are saying, and this makes the most sense. Taiwan is in China's crosshairs. Taiwan, if they went after them, it would affect the world's chip market. By China trying to control that, they could certainly try to really back us into a corner. And they've also kind of got us in a corner. Well, they do have us in a corner, mostly, with the rare earth elements. So Trump's like, okay. We all know with the big data movement, right, with the big computers and all this stuff, there's a few things that are needed. Obviously, you need space and buildings, got to build those things up. But you need crap tons of power, literal physical wattage, right, power. And then you need a bunch of chips, processing. Those two things are key. Well, Trump just cut off China from power. And we've got a factory that's, I think, well underway that will be making chips here in the United States. We're already months ahead. The only thing China can do is to try to take Taiwan sooner than later. A lot of people think Trump's actually spinning the timetable up on China, forcing them to, because essentially we're either going to cut your oil off and your 6 months reserves are going to run out very quickly. We're going to put you in a situation where you're going to feel your only move is to try to take Taiwan in order to have a bargaining chip with us. But that won't work either because Trump's already miles ahead. So right now, Trump's like, all right, you want to cut us off from rare earths? You don't get oil. Good luck. We'll see how powerful your Navy is in 2 seconds. We produce gobs oil. You can't take that away from us. We can definitely keep filling up our tanks all day long. It just spills over. We're just constantly running gas into the gutter. Says it'll kill dolphins, but we do it anyways. We don't care. We have so much of it. So, U.S. says no ships made it past the blockade. There was one ship, Chinese flagged ship, that was going to act like it was going to try to run the blockade, but then it ended up turning around. And China probably got a phone call from us, just probably saying something to the effect like, really don't want to do this. I mean, we've got this, this, and this. If this is how you want to play it, okay, see how much oil you ever get. So China's probably like, and we've got talks in 1 month. All of this is happening right before that. Who's got the biggest bargaining chip on the table right now? Donald Trump does. So anybody out there that sees this solely as the never-ending war, they just don't understand geopolitics, or they do understand geopolitics and they realize that if they don't attack Trump hard at this one moment where they might be able to get some headway, pretty soon they're not going to be able to say anything bad about him. So they're all in. And I'm very curious how many people are going to be able to handle that, right? There's a lot of people, again, once you made up your mind, once you decide that you like somebody, a lot of us are very loyal, and that's very awesome. And I appreciate that because, you know, I step outside the box often, piss people off, I think, frequently. Not trying to, per se. But I'm not against what we're all trying to do, like some people are. It's a mess, guys. It's a total mess. This AI attacker guy, this anti-AI attacker that tried to firebomb Sam Altman's house, second time in like a week that his house was attacked. He had a manifesto. He was planning on going after other execs. He had their addresses with him. Again, this is just kind of goes back to the way the left thinks, how their minds are. Violence is okay. They actually believe that. They actually believe that violence is okay. I think, like even with my parents, I think they're like, yeah, if something happened to him, I mean, it'd be his fault, you know? It's like that concept of people that you see a woman dressed somewhat scantily, and then she somehow gets taken advantage of by a man or raped, even worse. And there's actual people that would say she dressed that way, so she deserves it. And it's like, huh? It's that same kind of thinking. It's that same kind of thinking. Nobody deserves that. Nobody. First humanoid robot with embodied intelligence is going to be kind of taking out a lot of these high-risk jobs. This particular one's like a chemical plants. This thing can climb metallic walls. It's got magnets, and then it's got these arms, like so it can do stuff while it's up there, probably rivet and weld. It can supposedly do, I don't know, like up to 12 things or something, 15 degrees of freedom. There's a number of operations, but it's only, I want to say there's like 12 tasks or something that it can do. I don't know why I can't seem to find that, but yeah, whatever the case is. It is something that China is pushing big time right now, and yeah, so be it. It's a good idea. I mean, there's a lot of like deep water diving and stuff. Like, why wouldn't you put a robot down there? It's silly. They can go down forever. They don't have to deal with the bends. I mean, it sucks if you're a deep water diver because you get paid huge amounts of money, but a diver can go down forever. Robots don't need brakes. Robots don't breathe air. Robots don't need all that complicated equipment to just support their lives. They changed it. Damn it. Every time I try. They keep showing an image of the fireball that blew up. They totally did. Damn gummit. I try, and this so I guess I'm just not supposed to show it. Yeah, fuck it. I'm not supposed to show it. It is what it is. It's funny, is they keep making a big deal about the fireball that exploded in the sky, and like in the same image, there's this thing that's going across the sky. It looks like another comet. It's like, why are none of you noticing that? Nobody talked about that. Every single video of it I saw, the comet or the asteroid green blowing up. If you guys think about the green one, it's recent. So look above on the upper part of the screen. You'll see another thing coming into the screen. What the hell is that? It's out of control. A lot going on, guys. I love you. We're going to keep it up. I'm going to start a new show here on Thursdays. It probably won't be, maybe mid-May. And I'll give a little more information on what it's going to be. I've kind of I almost made up my mind. Let's put it that way. I'm still making up my mind. Also, going to be doing this concert. This is the Talking Heads. Surprisingly good. I did not realize how talented this dude was, or these people were, frankly. And it's actually a really well done concert. And again, this is something I've been doing here and there, like where I play a concert. I can't remember the one I played last. Oh, it was Peter Gabriel. Oh, it's an incredible concert. Incredible concert. This one I might just play all the way through and not even bother to break it up. We'll see. I might break it in one or two places, possibly, but we'll see how it plays out. But again, we got a lot going on. A lot is happening in the world. And the talk that Josh Reed brought up was about Turkey possibly going to war against Israel. That would be concerning. So I hope that doesn't happen. I don't think it's gonna, but it could. I don't think it's gonna. That would definitely be a step closer to what the deep state wants and needs. If Turkey and the United States went to war, that would be bad, and we'd probably get into the Samson thing with that case. Turkey is a very Israel would not be able to beat Turkey by any stretch of the imagination, and in fact, it would likely go the other direction, especially as weak as Israel is right now. It would not be well. And also, there is a bit of an expansion that Israel is trying to do right now because they believe Yahweh is coming back, and they want to make sure that they demonstrate to Yahweh that they've got all the land that they're supposed to have, that they held on to it. And Turkey is maybe not cool to let that continue. And a lot of this has to do with the Lebanon and Beirut stuff that's going on right now. So we'll see. There is some larger implications on a lot of the things that are going on. We'll see. We'll stay on top of all this. And again, just keep moving forward, guys. Keep rippling the best you can. Keep hoping for fair elections because that's our only chance. All these people that are saying the Democrats are going to win, fair elections, and understand this Iran thing's going to end shortly. This is helping separate the wheat from the chaff. Be slightly patient. We have a long way to go before true midterms actually happen. A long way to go. So hang tight. Okay, hang tight. We'll get through this, guys. And the deep state's going to be screwed when the Iran war is over and peace is finally had. They're screwed. This is big for us. Where we go one, we go all. It's on the Fringe with Dan Radio Style.